What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another week, another weekly live stream with myself. And today we are joined by Mr. Clark Gary, the co-founder of Founder Content Kickstart. He's been crushing it on the personal brand side. He's been crushing it in terms of mentoring and coaching and helping people monetize their brands. Not only has he crushed it himself, but he's really helping people. He's going to be helping me here soon as well. So super excited to have Clark on. We met back in early this year, and I'll obviously let him introduce himself and talk about what he's doing and kind of maybe how we met. But super excited to have you on, talk about personal branding, monetizing on social media, and hopefully talking about some of the stuff you're working on. So what's up, Clark?
Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate you having me on, man. I know I've been trying to do this for a little bit. But yeah, I'm pumped to be on here. And obviously we'll talk a little bit more about, stuff I'm doing right now with the coaching and the personal branding and stuff. But just super, super excited to be on here and kind of just chop it up for a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So for anyone who doesn't really know Clark, so like I said, originally we met back in I think Q1 of this year, and
Hmm.
it's actually a really funny story. And this is why like I've always been a huge fan of Clark, and just know he's a stand-up guy because I've worked with so many creators, I've talked to so many of them, and Clark knows this too. And it's exactly what you'd expect with a lot of influencers, mostly because a lot of them don't have a lot of business experience. But originally when Clark and I met, it was when I was launching OSSA, and I was cold DMing probably every influencer on the planet in the AI space, and ended up getting my way into Clark's DMs. And I believe I hit you up first, and it was something along the lines of, "Yo, what's up?" Like I introduced myself, set out what I was working on, maybe sent a link, and I was like, "Hey, would you, be interested in working with us?" Things like that. And then instead of Clark asking for like a huge bag, which is what, most creators do, which there's nothing wrong with that. He basically said that he was going to make a video on us because he liked the tool. And that was kind of like the kickstart into us working with a lot of awesome influencers in the AI space. And it's definitely a testament to you of providing value first. And it's obviously not a coincidence that you have, a lot of creators that you're working with. So I always kind of like to tell that story because I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I remember seeing it on the timeline. I think my a mutual connection of ours, Carson, had like talked about it or something, and I'd seen a tweet. We started talking, and I basically like for anyone listening to this, like for me, like obviously yes, for there's certain brand deals or whatever, you're gonna go in, you're gonna ask for a bag because like
Of course.
a company like maybe like a Nike or a Lululemon, a GoDaddy,
Yeah.
whoever, they've got the money, right? But like for me, there is sometimes in situations like this, especially where like the connection me and Cole now have, and like that mutual connection, and having him in my network, and like having him to bounce ideas off of, talk to, get advice from, like is worth more than the $1,000 that I could have probably charged for the brand deal, right? Not to mention like we set some stuff up for like down the road, but like just building that connection. And also like the reality is I probably was going to make a video about it regardless at some point, because I was like, I see the viral potential in making a video about this tool. So not only is it going to benefit, you guys because, get the word out there, but like as a creator yourself, if you make a tool, if you make a video that goes viral and it's about a cool tool or something you think, oh, this could go viral, like your first intuition shouldn't always be like, let me get as much money as possible with this, because like and it did go viral. Like I've reposted that same video like multiple times, and every time it's gotten like really, really good views. And like every time I've gotten, like some affiliate earnings from it and different things. Right. So like it did pay off. And also like, although I didn't see a monetary ROI like right then and there, those followers probably followed me and then eventually bought something from me, or worked, have worked in the program with me, or were in my cohort or whatnot. So like even though it didn't show exactly in my bank account that second, it was well worth it. And that's like an attitude a lot of creators don't have, because they can't afford to sometimes, because they're like, I just need to suck every dollar out of every brand deal I'm doing. Like I can't say no to any money or any brand deals. And so something you kind of learn the longer you're in it. But it definitely is something that I would suggest for anybody, that's trying to do brand deals or make connections or just really grow their personal brand, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's a really good opportunity to kind of segue. I'm going to pull up your Instagram here as we're talking so people can get a look at your stuff. Um, but yeah, I think that's a really good place to kind of segue into how you built your personal brand, because I know you have a pretty insane story that inspires a lot of people, and it's also probably why so many people are attracted to working with you because it's so relatable. Maybe before we even dive into like the different ways you can monetize, such as brand deals, having your own product, newsletters, right? There's lots of ways through the social media programs. Maybe you could talk a little bit about, kind of where you started and how you ended up where you are today.
Yeah, for sure. So, for me, I started making content back in 2021. I had always been like the side hustle guy between my friends. Like started a drop shipping store like my last semester of college when I was in it. And I'm 28 now, so that was almost 6 years ago at this point that I really started like the side hustles. I was
Mhm.
reselling stuff, I was flipping shoes, doing all these things. Started making content in 2021 because I had bought a Tesla and I was renting it out on a Turo. Talked about that. Started talking about tech sales as I got a job at Salesforce and was working there full time. And then like the AI, like ChatGPT came out and the AI wave really went crazy. And you're kind of getting down to the point like when you're scrolling through these videos, there's somewhere in here like you're gonna see like they like 1.2 million views, 2.1 million views,
Yeah,
like
some
a
big ones.
bunch of crazy views, uh like in this area where like it blew up. Like you can see that Opus Pro video did 3.5 million views, right? So
Yeah, wow.
like this is where it really blew up. And over on TikTok, I went from 0 to, 20,000 followers in 7 days. And this Instagram, I had grown to like 30,000 followers just talking about my side hustles and stuff in the past. And I've archived a good amount of those videos, but you can still see like I have my OG videos down here at the
Yeah.
bottom because I love to like post these on my stories every once in a while and be like, your videos are gonna suck.
Yep.
Like you need to post these sucky videos though in order to actually like grow, right? So this video, yeah, from 2021, July 23, 2021. So almost over 3 years ago now, right? So
Wow.
started doing that. Quit my job back in January. I was working at Salesforce. I was in sales, making some pretty good money there. And but quit my job. The goal with this was always to find a way to quit my job. And when I started, I knew nothing about the business side. I didn't
Mhm,
know anything about the virality side either. But like I knew nothing about how to turn this into an actual business
mhm.
and like start actually making money from it. And so now I'm at the point where not only I'm making money from the newsletter sponsored deals like you're talking about, but also like teaching other people how to launch their own offer, set up their newsletter, do everything in there. It's been a crazy journey. Like it really has been, and like I couldn't have done it without making connections like you and like just amazing people that I've worked with like along the way, like Ben Kaluza, Roberto Nixon's been like a huge inspiration. So like
Mhm.
it's been a pretty crazy like last year and a half. It's been and I always would say this to my wife or my parents because I would always be telling them like I'm gonna do this full time. I just don't know how yet. And like it was early 2023. I was like, I'm making good videos at this point. Like I know I'm doing the right things. It just hasn't popped off. And then April 2023, I had a viral video for Headshot Pro. It did 1.3 million views on TikTok organically. And it was like for like those like LinkedIn headshot like AI photos. And it was like
Mhm.
some of the first was like one of the first companies that was doing that. It blew up and it made them like more than $30,000 in 24 hours. And the
Crazy.
owner literally reached out to me and was like, "Yo, like I charged him $600 for the sponsored video because I didn't know anything at that time about charging for sponsored videos." And then he literally reached out to me after the fact. It's like, "Dude, our servers are blowing up. Like this is the best sales day we've ever had in company history." He was like, "Let me send you another 600." Literally just paid me another $600 on top. And I was like, "Okay, like I could just got paid $1,200 for this video that really wasn't that hard to make. It was one of my more basic video like, it was pretty much just, like, me with my phone and, like, some green screens in the background. I was like, I think I like, that was my sign of, like, "Okay, I'm gonna do this." Then I started working with more AI tools. And then I started working with Better Legal over on TikTok, grew their TikTok from 0 to 65,000 followers, and, like, it was pretty much off to the races from there.
That is an incredible story. And yeah, one thing that really stood out to me there, among many other things, that, first of all, I really want to hit on that point. We scrolled down, and for anybody that's just joining in, this is going to be recorded as well. But just a moment ago, as Clark was talking, I was showing his first video. And I think that's something that everybody totally misses when starting creating content. And I know you probably see a lot of this because you're working one on one with creators. But
Mm.
my first videos completely sucked too. They were so bad. It was awkward, it was bad editing. It wasn't engaging. It's like the it can be really overwhelming when you're starting to create content. And I know obviously everybody knows I'm the CEO of OSSA, but right now we're talking about personal brand content because a lot of people are still doing that, obviously, right? And the thing is like no matter what you do, whether it's faceless content, personal brand content, it really just comes down to starting and giving yourself enough time to get good at the thing. Because that's something that I really like that you said, which is that you're supposed to suck. If you've never done something, you're going to suck. It's like that's a universal rule for anything. Think about the thing I always say, Clark, is for anyone who asks me about like why aren't my videos doing well? It's like think about a sport that you're really good at. How long have you played that sport? Probably your entire life. So it's like
Yeah.
imagine if you were starting a new sport, right? And then you only gave yourself a week to become really good at the sport. It's the same exact thing. It's you can compare social media, to playing a sport. So I thought that was really really cool. And then another thing you talked about there, Clark, which I think is will segue us really well into the monetization side, which is that we've kind of laid the foundation, right? And I've been on with a lot of creators as well, as successful as Clark, and there's kind of a common theme of a lot of volume helps you do better at the end of the day. Like volume negates luck. That's one of my like favorite sayings, right? Because it's like it's not lucky that your videos went viral when you've posted probably 1,000 videos over the past year. Like eventually one's got to give, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's like super cool. But yeah, kind of talking a little bit more about the monetization side, and that's probably something that whether you're a creator listening or an aspiring creator, it's probably something that a lot of people it's a little bit foreign to them, and maybe diving a little bit deeper into the monetization side and some of the things that you kind of had to overcome as you tried to start monetizing. Like that story is one that hits home to every creator, and some are still going through it and they don't even know. So I think
Yeah.
diving a little bit deeper into that would be really cool.
100%. Yeah. Two things, just going back to the points that you brought up, and then I'll dive into the monetization real quick, is just yes, volume negates luck every single time. I can count on two hands the amount of times I haven't posted a video in the last 3 years. And people talk about like it's what you just said, right? Like, oh, 3 years, that's such a long time for me to get these results, right? But like as far as a career goes, if you looked at any person and you said, hey, I can guarantee you if you just do this for 3 years, you can quit your job and do this for the rest of your life. They'd be like, well, of course I'll do that, duh. But then when it comes time to actually do it for 3 years or even a year or even 6 months, people don't want to do it. Like Andreas is one of my students and he's gone from, 4,000 to 32,000. And we were having a chat and he was like, and it took him 3 months to see really any type of results. Like almost exactly at the 3 month mark, he went from 5,000 followers to now 34,000 followers. I was like, dude, you're a perfect example because like most people would have quit after month one or month two or like, month two and some change. I was like, but you just didn't quit and then boom, it just took off. And he was like, yeah, dude, people just quit too early. So like that's something I love
Awesome.
that I just want to hit on real quick. But the
Yeah, no,
monetization,
it's great.
something I've like had tons of ups and downs with. So like one thing that I would recommend to everybody here is, start sooner rather than later. Like whether it's just getting like a freebie out or like setting it up for your newsletter to be like ready to be downloaded and get people on your list. And I talk with creators all the time. They're like, well, I'm going to set this up once I get to 10,000 followers or 100,000 or whatever it is. But the last thing you want to be doing is like rushing to put together some like half baked, not promoted like freebie or lead magnet or in a worst case like course, right? Because when a video does eventually pop, you want something to A, be ready and be there for people to start to like, impulse purchase, right? Or like to actually be able to capitalize on that, right? Because if you don't have any of that set up, then it's basically a waste. Like if you got a 5 million view video and it was a good video and it was like good for your brand, but you had no way for anybody to get on your email list or purchase a product from you, yes, you gained the followers, absolutely, like no doubt about it. But like everything is so fleeting on social media that like it would do you 1/10 of the good if you just could have gotten people even just on your newsletter and now you have them on your owned audience versus your rented audience, right? So that's one thing. Another thing is asking your audience like what they actually want.
Mm.
For example, my first ever product I tried to sell via content was like a Turo like calculator from when I was doing Turo, and I remember I'd gotten like a million view video, and I was like, oh, this is gonna sell like crazy. Like I'm gonna list it at $5. It's gonna be flying off the shelf. Like who wouldn't buy this for $5? It's a no brainer. And I didn't sell like I sold like maybe $50 of it, right? And so like it was like I was just like, oh, I'll just put it in my link in bio and people will come and buy it. Like it's obvious. But like that's not how it works. Like you have to promote it. You have to talk about it. You have to actually do something that people want, right? Because what you think your followers want to buy from you or want to learn from you is probably something completely different than what they might actually want to be learning. Even if it's like in the same lane, it might be something
Mm.
completely different. So that's something that I've done with, both my cohort, my coaching, and then all the students that I coach is like go ask questions on stories, in reels, in your newsletter, like do polls, do as much as you can to get as much audience feedback. Because once you do that, it's really hard to have a launch that fails if you've gone and asked, tens of thousands of people multiple times, hey, what do you want? What price point do you want? How do you want it like delivered to you? Do you want it to be, an ebook, a video course, like just getting more feedback? Basically, again, that will negate the luck of, oh, this launch is going to go well. It's not going to go well. So asking them what they want there. And then the third part of that is like properly promoting it. The first time when I launched a course, even with this AI brand, right? I launched my content catalyst for the first time. And again, I was like, oh, $47 for the pre-sale price. And I was like, the people will buy it. And I'd sold probably, 1,000, some change dollars of it when it came out, right? But like my strategy, my launch strategy was like post one reel and post an email the day it came out. And like I maybe posted like an email to like a week before, being like, hey, this is coming, right? Versus now, I'm writing to my list almost every other day at this point about whatever I've got, and for like whatever offers I've got available for them to purchase or whatever I'm launching or whatever I'm working on. But also like when I did my cohort, for example, back in March, like I for up to like a month out, I was already talking about, hey, this is coming, this is coming. And then every single day for 2 weeks leading up to it, like I was writing to my list and like doing a story about it because like you think like, oh, this is annoying, this is spammy, people are gonna unfollow you, people are gonna unsubscribe from your email list. The majority of your audience isn't seeing it till you posted about it. Like it's going to take like 5, 6, 7 times for everybody, your whole audience, to finally have seen it just once. And if you
Mm.
think about it, like they probably need to see it more than once to buy it. So you need to be posting a ton about it to buy it. That's why I'm always posting on my stories about different things I have. Like when I ran the cohort, in the last 48 hours of the cohort, I sold more spots than I did the first week and a half it was open. Just because, like, A, urgency, people were like, oh, the doors are actually finally closing now. And B, like, they were like, I had a handful of people who were like, oh, this is the first I'm hearing about this. I'm glad I saw it before it closed. And I'd sent probably 12 straight days of emails and like been posting every day on my story. And they just so happened to like open this email and actually read through it because people are busy. People don't have time to look at every story you post and read every email you write like in full length. So like that's again, I just rambled for a while talking about that, but like those are the three things that I would really like hit home on people like for the actual like monetizing your own offer part of it.
That's incredible. And I'm just silently sitting here because I'm like learning myself. I'm just like sitting here, like I'm just gonna let him keep talking, man. Like I'm taking mental notes myself. No, it's incredible. It's really incredible. And the one thing I really like that you hit on, I think that speaks to social media as a whole when you're creating content. What I've noticed as well is like a lot of people think on social media that you can't kind of do the same stuff. And it kind of ties into what you're talking about, which is the marketing side, which is like, this exists, this exists, this exists. And you keep saying it over and over again. You think you're being spammy, but you can take
Yeah.
that same exact concept. And we were talking about this last week with Brad and also with Lisa, where a lot of what brand is just saying the same thing over and over again until someone's like, oh yeah, like I know that thing. Like that makes sense. They make the association, right? So I think that's like super interesting and it totally makes sense. And it's something that I personally leverage that to grow my following to where it is, which is around, 7 million now, where it's like a lot of people think they need to reinvent the wheel and they need to be super complex, but a lot of it is just more volume. Because one thing I really like that I've never heard anyone said, that you said was your owned audience versus your rented audience. And it's like when you're talking to your rented audience on the social media platforms, you're having to compete for attention across every other creator that they follow. So not only is someone who might buy, Clark's thing, not only do they follow Clark, but they might follow me. They might follow Anthony Shabbat. They might follow She Does AI, right? So it's like
Hmm.
their attention is spread across all those all of those creators. And what is the likelihood if Clark posts one time about his thing that they're going to see it? Probably not that high, right? So that's super cool. I've never heard really anyone use that term, but I might need to borrow
Yeah.
that one.
No, yeah, and the other thing with, like, the nature of Reels and TikTok, right, is, like, the idea is if a video does well, it's going to get shown to majority people who have not seen you before, like, you want to gain followers from it, right? So then when you
Mm,
think about it, specifically when it comes to Reels and, TikToks, right, is like, okay, well, if I wanna post about a product that is, $500 plus, or in the case of maybe coaching, $1,000 plus per month, right? Like, I don't actually want this to be seen by a bunch of people who don't know, like, and trust me. I want this to be seen by the people that specifically follow me. I've already nurtured. They already like me. They already trust me. They have already seen me get results for myself and others. So, like, of course, when you post a reel about your coaching program that's $1,500 a month, yes, you might get a bunch of mini chat automations because in the video you didn't mention it was $1,500 a month, but then they get to the landing page and they're like, "Hell no, I'm not. Like, I'm not buying this. No way. I don't know this guy." Right? They think they're gonna get something free, but then, like, that's something that a lot of people sleep on with, like, stories. Like, stories are people that follow you and you're showing up and they're, like, actually want to engage more with, like, the actual, like, your stories, which, is another level of stuff that, like, people follow you or watching. So the stories and the emails are 2 things that I didn't leverage in the past. Even up until, like, this year, I didn't leverage them like I should have. But now, like, I'm harping on that with both me, like, I'm still working to, like, be posting multiple times on there every single day, and then just the students I have as well, especially leading up to a launch, is like, hey, because the reality is, like, you have 7 million followers. I have 162,000 followers. I've got students that have 300 plus thousand followers that are in the 50,000 follower range, right? Like, people forget that those are real people. Sure, some of them are bots, undoubtedly, right? Like, everybody
yeah.
has some bot followers or inactive followers, ghost followers, whatever you want to call them. But, like, those are real people. And if you're selling something that's $1,000, for example, and you want to make $100,000 in a whole year, you only need 100 out of 7 million or 162,000 to purchase it. So, like, everybody's so stuck on, oh, I need to grow, I need to grow, I need to grow. I was talking with one of my students the other day, and he's like, yeah, I think my goal is to get to 100,000 followers because then I'll be able to do, this and this and this. And I'm like, you're at like 43,000 followers. I was like, you only need to convert a percent of those people to, like, make the goals that you're talking about, right? Like, the people are there. Like, you need to stop worrying about I need to grow so much, and you just need to, like, your audience doesn't even know you have something to sell them right now. They have no clue that it's out there and they can even purchase it. That's why a lot of people don't buy, is they just simply don't even know it exists in the first place.
Mm. No, I mean, that's really good. Yeah, and it's kinda something that I've kinda realized is, like, it just at a certain point, it just becomes like a vanity metric, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of creators work towards that, and it's always like, well, my goal at the end of the year is to hit 300,000 followers or 100,000. It's like, but like, why? Like,
Yeah.
why? Like, just because it's cool? It's like, is the goal really followers, or is it to like actually, make money doing this thing? So I think that's a really good point. No, it's great. I think it's like a really good time to maybe transition into, specifically what you're working on, right? Because we kind of talked briefly about brand deals and how, if you're a creator, you can work with companies and they can pay you. We talked about some of the pitfalls of sometimes not realizing your value as a creator and then getting arbitrage super hard by brands, which is
Yeah.
happens every single day, unfortunately, or fortunately, if you're the brand. And we also talked about different ways of monetization, right? Newsletter, but specifically kind of want to hear more about what you're working on. So I know you've kind of transitioned from you've done it, you have proven success. Now you're working on your own thing. So I would love to hear kind of more about what you're specifically working on, content kickstart, things like that.
Yeah, for sure. So my main thing right now is content kickstart, and it's kind of two-headed right now. So I've been doing the one-on-one side with it, and I'm actually next week, like, officially going to be bringing people in and launching, like, the group side, where they'll get, some one-on-one time with me at the beginning, and then it'll be group coaching, but basically teaching them how to, build out their own offer, like, from basically ground zero for most of these people, right? Like, maybe they've gotten the views, they've gotten some followers, they've made some content, and, like, teaching them, hey, like, how do you actually go now and monetize this? Both with, helping them negotiate on the brand deal side, because, as you gain followers, brand deals will kind of come with that naturally. So, like, like you just said, like, I've dealt with people who have hundreds of thousands of followers. And when we started working together, I was like, how much are you charging for a reel right now? And they're like, oh, like $250. And I'm like, what? And so, like, just then, per sponsored post, you can add $1,000 a month, like for someone like that, right? But then also, like, even if you can do that side, and I learned this the hard way again, is like if you know stuff about sponsored videos and you can make videos that get views, that in no way, shape, or form means that you know anything about actually running the business of like a content creator side, whether it's an agency, whether it's, you doing coaching and teaching other people how to grow and just like setting up all that stuff. And so
Yeah.
I'm helping people specifically do that. So for example, like AI Evolve and Uncover AI, Anthony, who was on here not long ago, I've been working with them. I help them set up kind of their courses and their coaching programs, get the whole email launch strategy behind that, story launch strategy behind that, and just kind of working with them to build that out. And my goal is to be someone who works with people anywhere from 2 to kind of 5 months, and then they can leave the nest, for a lack of a better term, right? Like I don't want these people's success to be like attached to working with me forever. Yes, everybody loves MRR. That's amazing, right? But like I don't want someone to have to be working under my coaching for 3 years if they want to like be able to do that. So that's kind of my goal with this is, hey, get them in for 2 to 5 months, get them really really good results, get them through a couple of really good launches so then they can take it on their own and be really comfortable and confident about doing it in the future, right? And so that's what I've been doing with a lot of people now. It's been really cool to see, and I've learned a ton from it too, right? Like I did the cohort back in March, collected over $15,000 from that cohort. That was more group coaching, then transitioned to specifically the one-on-one stuff, and I've gotten some really good results for people like Teach AI, Anthony. I've worked with some fitness trainers, worked with AI Evolve, so a really good amount of people, and it's been a lot of fun to see, and I'm excited to start like the group coaching aspect of it now because I can help more people because at some point I can only hop on so many one-on-one calls a week with people,
Mhm,
right? So like
mhm,
that's why I'm now adding the group leg to it is a more affordable for people. So people who, maybe can't afford the one-on-one coaching, but still want access to me and my knowledge and to be able to help them kind of move forward like at a faster pace. That's what I'm really excited about, kind of this next phase of it. And I've learned an insane amount. Like I've probably learned more in the last 6 months about content and business than I had did in the last 3 years combined, just because I've just forced myself to go and take imperfect action. Like I forced myself to suck at hopping on, initial sales calls or suck at setting up a landing page or,
mhm.
stuff like that. And now like I'm infinitely better at it than I ever was before.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. It's a super awesome story, brother. I mean, what a crazy story going
Yeah.
from, working not there's anything wrong, with a 9 to 5, but it was specifically your goal, to leave that job which was paying you super well, by the way.
Yeah.
And you took that huge leap, right? The huge leap of taking a massive probably a pretty good salary because Salesforce is a good company and salespeople get paid, decently well, and
Yeah.
you decide to take that leap and go into content creation. I know that's not an easy thing. So it's super cool to see that. And not only have you crushed it yourself, but now you're actually taking time to help people as well. And not only just helping people, but there's actual results.
Yeah.
And I know that personally, because I am connected with a lot of these creators and I see the success in real time. And that's really why I wanted to have, Clark on is hopefully as this, video gets pushed out and people come back to this, my hope is that you guys go and check out what he's doing because it's like I normally don't recommend to go to people, but Clark is definitely someone that I highly recommend because the results are speaking for themselves. I'm seeing them every single day. And I've chatted one-on-one with Clark. We were just talking this morning and we're always bouncing, back and forth stuff. And he's been really helpful for me. And hopefully I've been helpful in some ways, in the other way around. So yeah, man, super, super excited to have you on. We're coming up on the 30-minute mark, so we could probably close this out. Is there anything, where can they find you if someone wants to kind of check out what you're doing?
Yeah, for sure. So on every social, my username is just the Clark Gary. So ClarkGary, and it's just the in front of it. And then if they want to check out Content Kickstart specifically, it's exactly how it's written on the screen. So it's just contentkickstart.io is the website, all one word. So that's where you can, look at the kind of the sales letter I've got set up where you can learn a little bit more about specifically everything that's going to go on inside of there, and then you can fill out an application because I don't work with everyone specifically because I know a very specific type of person I can get results with. So if I don't think you're a right fit, I will be upfront with you and I will tell you that, and I won't take your money. But if I think that I can get you good results and I think we'd be a good match, like I want to work with you. So that's where they can find me. And then one like kind of parting note I'll just leave people with, and I wouldn't have mentioned this in the last kind of rant I was saying, is just that, with me specifically and a lot of AI creators out there, or just creators in general, right? Like, especially right now with all the trending like 7-second reels and 1 second reels and everything out there, like people think like there's a huge difference between getting views like that and like getting views that like actually are building your personal brand, and it's like the storytelling behind it. Like I've gotten to the point now where, I could easily go make an AI video right now that I know is going to get 500,000 views because it's going to talk about specific tools and use this like really like this language that's going to get people going crazy and set up a mini chat automation. It's going to go viral. That will make me exactly $0, right? Like,
Hmm.
but I can go make a video that I know is going to be talking about like a client, like a case study or client testimonials or my own results, and I can go make that, and it's going to get 1/20th of the engagement, but the actual engagement that I get is going to be so much higher quality that even if I only land 2 clients out of that, it's going to make me multiple thousands of dollars just from landing 2 clients out of that versus, sure, the 3 million view video looks great on paper. It looks awesome. Like
Hmm.
that Opus Pro video you were looking at looks awesome on paper, but like the reality is that video barely made me any money at all versus I have videos that have 10,000 views that have gotten people onto my newsletter, and then they converted into actual like clients of mine, and I've, made multiple thousands of dollars for myself, and then, again, multiple thousands of dollars for those people as well, which is the really cool part. So just want to leave with that. Like all views are not created equal.
Dang, we are blessed to have Clark here today. Dropping game, man. Watch this one back for sure. Yeah, thank you so much, Clark. This has been great. I know you're super busy, so thanks for setting aside some time. And yeah, hoping to have you back on. Hopefully, maybe in the next couple months, maybe by the end of the year, you can provide us kind of with an update of what you're doing. And
For
we
sure.
can chat some more about personal brand. I'm gonna be making some shifts to my personal brand. I think some people are aware I'm kind of leaving a chapter in my life and kind of moving to another one. And I'm sure Clark will have some hands in there. So super excited to kind of see what we can do. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for hopping on today and taking some time on your Wednesday. This is going to be recorded, and we will catch you guys next week.